Well, good morning, and again, welcome to the second day of the 2 days of plant tours and home sales seminars. And pretty much doing the same thing with you folks that I did yesterday morning, which is give you a relatively brief retrospect of the manufactured housing industry back to approximately 1998 to 2000, because what happened back then has drastically affected businesses that we know, that in your case, that your father started many years ago. And I think it's important as we look at factories and begin buying more homes to sell on site, that you understand how we got where we are, so that maybe we don't make some of the mistakes that were made back at the turn of the century. May or may not remember, but in 1998, there were over 372,000 manufactured homes shipped down the highways to various properties, both subdivisions and communities at the time. And that was the last major good year for this industry, 1998, because by the year 2000, we had started to suffer the effects of some poor financial finagling. It basically works this way. When you have a production line and you order inventory for it and you hire staff to man the line to turn out X number of cars or manufactured homes per day, then you don't really want to finagle with that. You don't want to do anything that's going to cause it to be less. You want to keep the same or more. And the same thing happened in our industry is that we were going to this really great clip, and all of a sudden the dealers, manufactured housing retailers across the country would say, "Whoa, I don't want any more homes. My market is saturated." And well, one of the things that we did wrong, we didn't know at the time, was the factories basically bought out many of the independent street retailers and replaced the entrepreneur owner with a salaried manager working for the manufacturer. And so basically they were able to say, "No, you work for us. We are going to still send you more homes." And so what these managers did, under the blessing of the owners of the factories, is that they said, "Okay, fine. We will make deals that probably shouldn't be made. No money down. We'll use adjustable rate mortgages. We'll have partnerships with communities that have just built sites that they'll free rent for a period of time." And did things that young couples in particular would come in, and two of them were working and they've got some money coming, they can maybe afford a $25,000 house, and the manufacturer would say, "Hey, I'm going to put you in a $50,000 home, and you don't even worry about a deposit or a down payment rather, and we're going to give you a mortgage where it's a nice low rate right now. It's adjustable rate, but it's low down. And so, fine, take the money you're going to use for down payment, go out and buy yourself a new SUV." They did all this stuff. They moved into the property and they had no rent payment for a year. A year later, more likely they had a child, one wage earner, adjustable rate mortgage, the mortgage rate doubled, and now they got a bill for $300 a month rent, which they never had before. Turn them upside down. What most people don't realize is the extreme consequences of that happening. And that is that we learned recently from the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau, CFPB, that there were in excess of 300,000 manufactured homes that were repossessed in the years 1999, 2001, 2002. And the value that was lost among those homeowners was $1.3 billion. Well, what happened is chattel financing didn't go away, but easy access to chattel financing, which is how we finance homes, boom, went away. And it hasn't returned, really. And so now what happens for the next several years, at a company, an industry that was producing 300,000 homes, they were now competing with 300,000 repossessed homes. And so, what's the young couple want to do? Buy a new home at $50,000, or one that's a year or 2 year old, same size, same features, only 2 years old maybe, for less than half that amount of money? They're going to buy a cheaper home, okay? So production just plummeted. And it took us until 2009 to hit the bottom. By 2009, because of the thing I just described to you, we hit the lowest point in 60 years of production, 49,000 homes. So we went from 372,000 in 1998 to, again, 10 years later, to be down to 49,000. Because mainly we couldn't get the financing for the homes on the site. And so another characteristic of that particular year was that only 24% of the new homes shipped were going into communities like the ones that you own and manage. And also early that year, February 27th, in actually this very building, 100 community owners and manufacturers, some of whom were here, came and sat down for a day, closed the doors, nobody was allowed in. Basically, the manufacturers wanted us here, I was a community owner here at the time, saying, what do we have to do to get you guys to buy more homes? And we were saying to them, you know what, we'd like to buy more homes, but you're building these big boxes equal big bucks, you know, big houses that don't fit on our lots. We can't buy those. So you build something that we can afford and it fits our sites, we'll buy them. So the agreement coming out of there was to design a new line of homes, which are now called Community Series homes. And they were basically either modest size, either single section homes or modest size multi-section with what we call durability enhancing features that made it easier to turn those homes over when they were sold or released rather than the older homes and all the maintenance expenses that went into it. But to make a long story short, we've had Community Series homes since then. And now virtually every manufacturer has some design of homes of that nature. They may not call it that, but they call it something similar. And the end result is that, I'm jumping ahead a little bit, by the end of 2015, last year, that 25%, which in 2009 represented only 12,000 homes, jumped to 40% of the 70,000 homes that were shipped that year, which meant we had 28,000 homes. So literally between 2009 and 2015, we jumped from only 25% of the homes built went into your property to 40%. So that's how much that's happened. It's why you're sitting here, because this meeting couldn't have happened 10 years ago. But not enough community operators were really buying, buying new homes. Come on in, have a seat.
Are you coming for the second round?
Oh, is it in the afternoon, the other two?
What?
Or were you doing the same thing this morning? Or did you?
Yes.
Have you been here?
Yes.
Well, you're welcome to stay.
I wouldn't come to the other two, but I thought those were in the morning.
No, there's the afternoon.
Afternoon, okay. I'll be back.
Okay.
Hi, Michael. Michael, this is Spence. That's the gentleman I wanted you to meet. We talked about the lease option.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's the
Good.
guru right there.
All right.
So make
Talk to you
sure,
later.
You
yeah.
want to
Good.
go and talk to him now?
No, I think he's gonna come
He's
to
gonna
the
come.
presentation. Huh? Yeah.
Well, before we were sort of rudely interrupted, which is not the case. And by the end of 2014, it was widely recognized what was happening. And in some circles in our industry, they began referring to those of us that own and manage communities as being the new breed of retailer and lender. Because during that period of time, over 10,000 retailers, dealers, went out of business. And so basically we were doing that job, filling our vacant sites in our own properties, because we could no longer, not only find, they weren't there, couldn't even find them. So that's what happened, that happened there. It was also that year that the Community Owners Business Alliance was formed. This was not meant to be a political organization, but rather someone that supplies you resources on statistics and trends in the industry. And that little business card I gave you is the card for that, and it's who's going to send you material, afterwards to help you get all the more broad exposure for what we're doing. Now, frankly, most community operators realize that they've got to sell homes and sometimes sell or finance them on the site to stay in business. I mean, there's no other game in town. And so that's why we had this event over the last 2 days, because the manufacturers are wanting to meet with community people, and community owners, not as many as I hoped, but are wanting to get to know the manufacturers better. So this was a kind of a mixed situation like that to make that happen. Seller finance became the catchword, again, turn of the century, and we've gone through several machinations of that. I know you've been around long enough to know that for many years it was contract sale. We don't have to lease a home necessarily, but we would sell it to one contract. That's kind of rare anymore, because with the State Act on the state level, the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau on the national level, and all the regulations about mortgages, it's very, very difficult to engage in seller financing. Now, one of the first things that came about was captive finance. That was the rage about 5 years ago. Oh, you gotta form a captive finance firm. Well, what we've come to realize is that only works for companies or properties that sell in excess of a dozen homes a year, or maybe even 20 homes a year. If you're not selling that many homes a year, then it's not cost effective to create your own bank, you know, under separate ownership situation. So it's still valid, but it's only valid for larger portfolio players, not mom and pop operators like perhaps yourself and myself. And so, as we've gone through the different ways to finance our properties, more and more is becoming apparent that something called lease option is where we're probably going to end up. Many states approve of it, accept it. Quite frankly, many portfolio operators presently engage in it, but it still needs to be popularized more in the details. And so, again, this afternoon, assuming you stay down the whole day, I hope you do, you'll hear an excellent presentation on the ins and outs of lease option and give you some resources that you can follow up on after you leave here to make sure that works for you. So in summary, you're part of the new breed of retailer and lender. We're selling community series homes on the site. And basically, I describe everything I told you from 1998 to now as being a paradigm shift, a major shift in the way we do business in this industry. I'm going to kind of bring this to a close here and tell you that, as you already know, free to walk anywhere you want in this museum. I've covered everyone's admission fee. There's no extra fees for you to do it while you're here. And I think that's all that I want to cover at this point. I don't want to take any more time from the ladies that have a very good presentation to follow. Now, the beauty of what we put together here is that I wanted to have getting ready, buying homes, selling homes, and financing homes. And I wanted the presenters to all be actually like you two, either community owners or managers who are actually doing that in their properties today. And I felt very gratified last night when I had several people at the cocktail party we had here make a point of telling me that that was the most valuable part about being here, is that every speaker they heard yesterday was not just talking the talk, but they were walking the walk. And I hope that you have the same realization as you go through various sessions today. And any questions at this point of what I've just covered? Okay, well, we'll encourage you through the course of the day. You know, if you have questions, if you care to, during the session or afterwards, we're all not going anywhere quick. So, with that,
George, let me ask you a question.
No.
This is the first time I actually ever heard anybody relate the number of repos to the decline in the industry. And of course, you mentioned that the industry didn't feel the full effect of the impact of those 300,000 repossessions until about 2008 or 2009. And of course, that's when the economy tanked. Right. So for our industry, it was a 1-2 punch. But I'm curious, when did those 300,000 start defaulting, coming into the system, and what was the mobile home production before they started coming in? Because that obviously that affected the entire industry. As you said, people were buying those instead of new houses.
It started immediately. In other words, 1998, you had 372,843 homes shipped. 1999, precipitously lower than that. I don't have the numbers with me. And it kept on going down, down, down until 2009. So therefore, you can say that the full effect of the 300,000 repos took place over the course of the next 8 or 9 years, as the production shipments continued to drop as the repos were absorbed, into the inventory.
So you think the relationship, if we look at it on a graph, we would see the repos occurring and the shipments dropping, where the total absorption of the industry was the combination of the two.
It would be an interesting juxtaposition chart to see how they would relate. I'm not prepared to do it right now because I need my data.
Right.
But you picked up on a very key point. So good comment.